Bond. James Bond.
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Did we just become best friends?
Yup! Sublime!
What keep using that word? I don't think it means what you think it means.
Tear me apart, Lisa!
But mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close. Not even a little bit. Not even at all.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hi friends, and welcome to another episode of You Haven't Seen That? A movie discussion podcast where we introduce our friend Ben to movies he should have seen a long time ago. I'm your host, Amanda.
I'm Geoff.
And I'm Ben.
And today we are doing our yearly musical and talking about Mamma Mia. Stick around until the end. We'll be doing a little Tony's nomination preview guesses, whatever you want to call it.
Mamma Mia. A spirited young bride-to-be living with her single mother on a small Greek island secretly invites three of her mother's ex-boyfriends in hope of finding her biological father to walk her down the aisle. Released in the United States in July of 2008, it debuted in the UK in June of 2008. This hit America as well the same weekend as The Dark Knight. Little Barbenheimer action back in 2008. The number one song in the US, I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry.
A classic.
Big one. 2008, big year for number ones as I was looking through. You had a lot of T.I., a lot of Flo Rida, some Leona Lewis. Good variety of stuff that year.
The good days.
In sports news, big year at Wimbledon this year. Venus beat Serena. Venus Williams beat her sister Serena Williams. And Rafael Nadal won his first Wimbledon, dethroning Roger Federer's streak, I think, of 5 Wimbledons in a row at this point. So massive year for tennis. Stephenie Meyer publishes the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn ahead of the release of the first Twilight movie. And in famous deaths, we had Estelle Getty from the Golden Girls and Tim Russert, Buffalo Zone. Directed by Philida Lloyd, based on the Katherine Johnson musical of the same name, and Tony Award nominated musical. This movie stars Meryl Streep, Pierce Brosnan, Colin Firth, Stellan Skarsgård, Amanda Seyfried, Julie Walters, and Buffalo's own Christine Baranski. With a $52 million budget, this movie grossed $706 million at the global box office. Massive success. This movie opened number 2 domestically behind The Dark Knight, as previously noted there. And it finished as the 5th highest grossing movie of 2008 and the 3rd highest internationally, aka outside of the United States. So massive success there. At the time, this movie was the highest grossing live action musical and the highest grossing movie directed by a woman, both later dethroned in both categories by Beauty and the Beast for musical and Wonder Woman for woman director. This movie was not received necessarily well by critics. It has a 55% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 51% on Metacritic. There were no Oscar nominations for this movie. It was nominated for 2 Golden Globes, which it lost in both Best Musical or Comedy, as well as Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy for Meryl Streep. However, it did win one major award. It won the Razzie for Worst Supporting Actor for Pierce Brosnan.
Congratulations.
There would later be a sequel to this movie called Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, released in 2018.
All right. Well, Ben, why don't you share your history with Mamma Mia?
All right. So I have not seen this movie, obviously, why we're doing this podcast. I have seen the stage version twice. Not on Broadway or actually even professionally. I saw it at a dinner theater in Chicago when I was on a band trip there. So it was like a semi-professional production, I believe. It was at a place called Drury Lane Theater. And I think they're like, it's like one of those places where I think they have like some equity people, you know what I mean? Like it's like, it's not like community theater, but it's not like a touring production. It's like somewhere in between those two. I remember a really pretty set for that they had. I really liked their set. And then my dad was in it at a community theater. Probably, actually, I don't even remember if it was before or after I saw it in Chicago, but it was around the same time. I think it was before. I think I saw that before. And he played which dad? He played Bill, the one who says, "Take a chance on me." So I have seen this twice. And as a stage production. I've never seen the movie. I've heard a lot about it over the years. And as people who listen to this podcast probably know, I direct high school musicals. Much to the chagrin of some of my students, I've never picked this one yet. It became available to high schools a few years ago and has been a very popular title for high schools in the last few years. And we've yet to do it, but we might sometime. It's interesting because I know there's a few who are angling for it every year. Big supporters of it. And there are a few others who are like, please don't do this show. So, if the time is right and the cast is, a good group to pull off a show like this, we'll do it. Obviously, I'm not, personal feelings we'll get into, but I never, I always want to pick the show that's best fitting of the group I have. Which is not to say you precast anything, because I don't, if any students are listening, but you have to pick a show that fits the overall kind of mix of the kids. So anyway, that's a long way to say that I feel like pretty well acquainted with Mamma Mia, but have not obviously seen the movie until now.
Awesome. Thank you. What about you, Geoff?
Seen this movie a couple of times. My parents own this movie. I think my mom requested it one year for Christmas, so we bought the DVD copy of this. I've seen it a couple of times, but have not seen it in a very long time before recording this episode. So while I know the basics of the plot, while I knew the storylines, in terms of the itty bitty bits with the movie, there's some stuff that was foggy for me when this came around. I've never seen the stage version of this either. So very familiar with the music of ABBA, like probably everybody is, but have never seen the stage version to my knowledge. So would like to someday, but I don't know. So that's my history with Mamma Mia. Not the most exciting one, but yeah.
I'm sure someday you'll see it.
Oh, I'm sure. Some revival.
Yeah.
Well, there just was a revival.
Oh, fair enough. Never mind. Well, the day that you decide to do it, Ben, that'll be the day I finally see it on stage. No pressure.
The next revival. There's always a new one coming. So for myself, I have seen this movie many, many times. This is actually one of my dad's favorite movies. Believe it or not, but he absolutely loves this movie. There was like a very long stretch where it played on, I don't know, like FX or something. And every time it was on, he would turn to it and he would sit there and watch it. But even with his very limited knowledge of singing, he knew Pierce Brosnan was a bad singer. He would always turn to me and be like, I don't know why they cast him for this. So anyways, yes, I've seen it many times. And I've seen the stage production once at Wolf Trap. So I guess that was probably a professional touring performance. Geoff, let's hear your rating.
So, do you know how you guys said a few weeks back when we talked about Saving Private Ryan, how you were like, there's the quality of the movie scale and the fun scale?
Are you saying this is reversed?
We are reversing this hardcore. If we were to talk about this from like a film and filmmaking perspective, and granted, I'm no artist, I'm no whatever, there is a noticeable real lack of filmmaking behind this movie. A lot of this movie is just, let's let Meryl Streep and a few of the most attractive older men in Hollywood cook for an hour and a half and throw in Amanda Seyfried's gorgeous voice in there for a little bit. We'll just let them cook. We'll see what happens. So it really isn't any sort of filmmaking strategy behind it. But this movie is so fun. This movie is ridiculously just entertaining, goofy. I have a smile on my face. It's so I can't ding it too much. I'm going to end up giving it, I think, a 3 strictly because of how fun it is. But from a movie perspective, there's a lot left to be desired. And I noticed it right from minute 1 all the way through to the end.
All right. And what about you, Ben?
So, okay. Obviously, this is not one of my favorite musicals. But I certainly recognize that it's fun for people. It's fun for audiences. It's fun for people to be a part of, I'm sure.
It's fun for people. That people is not me.
And musicals, obviously I like musicals that have a little more something to them than a musical like this. But I understand that musicals like this have a place. One of my favorite ones I've ever directed is All Shook Up, which is the exact same thing but with Elvis songs, and also just as aimless in plot, just as loosely connected to the songs as Mamma Mia is. In many ways, it was considered like kind of an imitation of Mamma Mia when it first came on Broadway. But I had a blast directing it and a great cast that we did with that. So I feel like that's probably how I would feel if I directed Mamma Mia at some point, was I would have fun with it. The film, in addition to what you said, Geoff, about not being very artistic, but like I can forgive the no plotness and the kind of just stupidity of the whole experience if they could freaking sing. And none of these people can sing well. I mean, they're not all Pierce Brosnan, but nobody is good. I'm giving it a 2 for that reason, because I just makes me crazy. Like, okay, I can forgive the silliness, but then sing. Be a good singer. And they didn't cast a single person who's a great singer in this movie, and that infuriates me. 2 is generous. I want to almost go lower now that I'm talking, but I just got so mad because there's so many good singers out there. They could have gotten names that can sing, and they don't, and that makes me crazy. I'm giving it a 2.
All right. So I give it 5.
Yes.
Boy, I just like we're filming this out of order, but I just ruined one of Geoff's movies on the last time we recorded, and now I'm just gonna crap all over one of Amanda's favorites.
That's all right. We know you crap all over all the movies. Most of them. Yeah, I mean, we can just like get into it, but part of this score is nostalgia for sure. Like, obviously I seen this probably like right when it came out, so I've been watching it for a very long time. Yes, I totally laugh at like some of the like quote unquote cinematography of this movie, like a lot of the slow-mos, and just I totally understand that, but to me that's just like part of the charm of it. And it's kind of the same with like the like not everyone being like the best singer. I don't know. Like, to me it just feels like it's like a warm hug. It's like you get to look into this moment in time when everyone is just having fun, and there's so much like female just love and connection in this movie, especially between like Donna and the Dynamos. And I just have a smile on my face the whole time, and I just love it. So, yeah.
There's a lot to be said for a movie that leaves you with a smile on your face the whole time you're watching it. It's a comfort movie. The beauty of a comfort movie is like when you throw it on, it doesn't matter when it is, it doesn't matter whatever. It's something you could laugh at, it's something you can smile with, it's something that you can connect with. There's a beauty to it. And I appreciate you staying true to yourself, Amanda, and embracing that with your thoughts on the movie and everything. It is a fun movie. Like I said, I had a smile on my face through a lot of it. I was laughing along. I thought it was silly, and not just in like oh, this movie is ridiculous kind of way, but in like I'm having a good time with this. Like, everyone dancing to Dancing Queen is so fun. That number is great. I'm having a great time. Lay All Your Love on Me, as silly as that song, as that scene is filmed and as it's portrayed in everything, it's a banger. Like, I'm having a great time with it. So I totally hear what you're saying there, Amanda, for sure.
Yeah. Let's not forget that I love ABBA. So, I'm always happy to sit down and hear an hour and a half worth of their songs.
I'm not here to ruin that. And I'm not here to, I don't mind ABBA's music. It's I don't love it, but it's I don't hate it. I just want to hear it done better. Like, it's just, I both versions I saw on stage, which, like I said, neither was like a professional version, was better, even the community theater, than these singers in this movie. And one of my favorite quote I read came from somebody, who I have the name here, Mark Kermode from the BBC, who wrote when this came out, "This is the closest you'll get to seeing A-list actors doing drunken karaoke."
Well, fun fact. There actually is a long-standing rumor that the entire cast was drunk pretty much the entire time they filmed this.
I mean, I believe it.
Some people have said that's not true. Other people have said, yeah, no, that's kind of true.
Wait, you mean to tell me I get to be in the Greek Isles with some incredible people for a stretch of time, just in the sun, singing along, and it's guaranteed to make money? Sign me up. Sure, why not? Let's have a party.
I mean, Amanda Seyfried did an interview, and she basically said she really wanted them to make a third one just so she could go get drunk with the cast again. So they were having a fun time.
I'm sure. I just want to get this out of the way because I sang Meryl Streep's praises when we did Devil Wears Prada recently. And I know Meryl Streep must love musicals. She keeps doing them, and I feel like everybody like rightfully crapped all over Pierce Brosnan in this, and it's deserved. I mean, he's a terrible, terrible singer. Some of the things I read that some of the roundup of reviews called him a donkey braying, a wounded raccoon, as if he's being subjected to a prostate exam just outside the camera's eye. And all fair. I think because Meryl Streep is Meryl Streep, and because she's obviously having fun with this, I feel like we don't criticize her singing enough, and it's bad. And I mean, again, it's not as bad as Pierce Brosnan. I mean, she can match a pitch or whatever. But like those Donna songs need to have some heft to them. The Winner Takes It All can actually land in a musical theater setting if you've got a good singer for it. But now with this and Into the Woods and The Prom, like Meryl Streep keeps doing these things that really should be given to people who can actually sing.
Oh, The Prom. Oh,
and it's frustrating.
That reinvigorated a part of my brain that I just.
The Prom was a great stage show, and the part that she was played by on stage, Beth Level, was incredible in it. And I just feel like because she's Meryl Streep, and she obviously the acting is not bad in this, but like it just feels all so underbaked, the singing to me, even her stuff, which like. Typically when you see this on stage, Donna is like a powerhouse singer typically.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And her voice is just thin. It's just not, it's for that kind of role. It's very thin, and it frustrates me.
Yeah, no, I hear you. She's definitely not the best. So I'm curious, Ben.
Yes.
Who, in your opinion, was the best singer out of what they had? That's not an answer. I'm not saying who was actually a good singer. Who was the best out of what they had?
Probably Amanda Seyfried.
That was my pick too.
But I didn't even think she was great.
You know what really annoys me about her singing in this movie in particular is her vibrato.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? She's always it's always
I know what you're talking about. I didn't think she was great either. You asked me who the best one was, and I was forced to pick.
I know. That's what I wanted. Who is the best out of the worst?
Yeah. She looks incredibly young too. I feel like she looks younger than Mean Girls, even though it's like 4 years later.
Yeah, there's something about that natural look, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. She just did a movie last year, kind of an Oscar bait movie called The Testament of Anne Lee, which is a musical well.
Did you guys see that?
I have not seen it. It's currently streaming on Hulu. It's on my list. Eventually, I'll get to it. But it was one of those where since it didn't get any Oscar love, I'm like, oh, do I really need to?
Yeah, that's kind of where I ended up with it.
She was also in Les Mis, right?
And she was in Les Mis, yes.
Yeah.
But that wasn't recent.
No, but sorry, I thought we were just saying other things that she's sang in.
Oh, apologies. Yes.
It's got to be frustrating to Broadway people to watch a movie like this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, that's like how I felt. I mean, I think there's a larger problem for the most part when you're doing a movie musical where people struggle for some reason to cast the right people, because I think they go with acting over singing talent.
Yep. And names
And
over singing talent.
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like it's the same as when the live action Beauty and the Beast came out and they cast
Yes.
Emma Watson
Yes.
as Belle.
Yes.
And it was like, she has no
Yes.
right to play
No.
this role.
Right. Right. No, I'm with
But
you.
yeah. Yeah.
But
So-
it can be done. I mean, like
right.
Hairspray.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hairspray.
Chicago.
Most Chicago is a great example.
Chicago is a great example.
Most of them
Rent.
I've not seen Red Bull.
We're not gonna.
And those are
Next.
not those are not, you know, even those actors and some of those ones we mentioned are not great at like, are not like the best singers, but I feel like they're more passable.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I do think there is a balance. I don't know. I would be interested to see how well someone who is on Broadway and has never been in a movie before, like if they're
Right.
able
It's different
to
skills for sure.
Right, right. So I would be interested to see that. It's kind of like our favorite movie ever, Cats, where they cast the main cat, Victoria, who she's like a ballerina or
Yes.
something, right? Like had not ever been in a movie, whatever. I don't think she did that great. I mean, her dancing was great, but
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, it's hard to tell with cats. It's like where the problems lay there, but
well, she's never done anything else, so
yeah.
that I know of.
And I know he's done stuff like small stuff from movies perspective, but you could also say the same about Ben Platt with our other favorite movie of all time, Dear Evan Hansen.
It's you know, it's hard. It's you know, I think I guess like it's tricky for a show like Mommy. So like okay, so like Hairspray, for example, they cast a really strong Tracy who was
Yes.
not well known at the time, but could sing.
Mhm.
And then they surrounded her with actors who, you know, I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer is not a great singer in that. You know, what's his name? Christopher Walken is definitely not a great singer. And John Travolta can sing though, but like he's
fair.
a little
actually.
miscast.
Oh, that's touche. Duh, he's done Grease. What am I saying?
But
And
like,
everything.
so you know, but they surrounded like, but then they also had Queen Latifah who can do it, and they had Zac Efron, who's a good singer.
James
You know,
Marsden, who's a good singer.
so they kind of mixed and matched there, which I thought worked. The problem is that here, like the two parts that need to sing the best in the stage version and the film version are Donna and Sophie, and you can't really go with an unknown for Donna. Like, you know, like that's you could go with an unknown for Tracy because you're surrounding her with movie stars in the older roles on Hairspray. And so with Donna, like, you know, you can't really like, you know, could they maybe have done like, I don't know, like an Idina Menzel or something, maybe, you know, but she's not quite the type for this. But like, you know, I get it. Like, it's a tricky situation because you don't want to have some unknown name in that role if you're trying to do a major film that you want to make a lot of money.
For sure.
So I get it.
I think a good recent example of this is Steven Spielberg's West Side Story that came out 4 or 5 years ago, where Rachel Zegler at the time was not well known at all. It was her first movie role,
right?
And got cast and crushed.
But again, that's a young role,
exactly, and was surrounded by other people who were talented from Broadway, but also they were given the support to kind of cast in that situation. And when you have a name like Spielberg behind it, it's like, okay, this is just going to be
good. It didn't do well.
No, it did not.
You know, and this made gajillions of dollars. So, you know, who's to say? But
this was way more fun.
I enjoyed West Side Story way more than this, but I fully acknowledge this was far more successful with the general public. What is your favorite ABBA song? Let's just change gears here. Favorite ABBA song in the show? I don't necessarily, not necessarily saying in the context of the show, but that is included in this show.
Okay, then I'll ask the second part about favorite song adaptation is. But favorite song, I'm gonna say, feels bad to say just Dancing Queen, but so I'll just Dancing Queen's my favorite, but I will go with Super Trooper. It's probably my second favorite.
This is so hard. Okay, so if I'm going with like the actual like scene in the movie to accompany the song, I would have to say "Lay All Your Love on Me" because that has just like the first time I saw that, and the many times I've watched it since. When all the men come out on the dock with their giant flippers, like it is just the funniest thing to me, and I absolutely love that.
That is
But I
my
also really
favorite.
do
That
like
is
the
also my
song.
favorite. That is my favorite scene with an ABBA song in this movie.
Yeah.
Is "Lay All Your Love on Me."
Yeah. I will say, probably my my second favorite, which doesn't really count because it wasn't really in the movie but was in the credits, is Waterloo, because that's just
Yeah.
one of my favorite ABBA songs in
But
general.
that's how it's in the musical too. I mean, that's the very end of the curtain call in the musical.
Yeah. And then they did put it in the sequel because I think they were like, the people want Waterloo.
I think as far as a production number, yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys, but also Dancing Queen, like those are both really fun numbers. Just as like a pure song, if I was just talking about the song itself without any connection to the movie, well, there's two. One is I really like Our Last Summer as a song. And then the one that I was so mad wasn't included was Thank You for the Music, which is only in the credits, not even like the not even like the little mega mix stuff at the end. They only play it at the very end. And it is in the musical, that song.
Okay.
And I love that song. But I actually don't love how it's used in the musical. But I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, maybe they're going to put it later. Maybe they're going to have it in a more prominent spot because it's actually very early in the musical. It's like the fifth or sixth song of the musical. And I was like, oh, maybe they're going to make it more prominent. And then the movie ended, and I was like, they never did Thank You for the Music.
That's actually one of my least favorite songs. And I will say, I think it's I don't know that song outside of this movie. Two, I don't like the way they used it in the movie. It's like everyone's all like happy, get like the Aphrodite's fountain just exploded.
No, wait,
right?
are you talking about Our Last Summer?
No, Thank You for the Music.
They don't use Thank You for the Music in the movie.
No, they don't. Wait, isn't it in there? No, okay, I'm sorry. I was thinking about the I Have a Dream song or whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. I hate that one.
No, I don't like I Have a Dream either.
Wait, she does sing Thank You for the Music at some point, right?
Not maybe it's in the sequel, but it's not in this one. It plays in the credits, like after the dancing part of the credits.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking.
It plays
Okay.
like when the credits are literally rolling.
Never mind. I got confused. My bad. But
So
yes.
no one says SOS.
I have PTSD from SOS because when I saw the community theater production, like I said, my dad was Bill, and this guy who was Sam was honestly worse than Pierce Brosnan.
No.
And so SOS and Knowing Me, Knowing You, which is not in the movie, were like painful to get through.
Ooh.
I still like whenever I hear Knowing Me, Knowing You, I think of like knowing me, knowing you, there is something I can do. I'm not even exaggerating just how bad it was. I'm sorry if whoever played that part is listening, but it was just, and so whenever I hear SOS or Knowing Me, Knowing You, I think of that horrible, horrible version. And like I said, Pierce Brosnan is actually, I will give credit, was better than this guy.
Wow.
When you're gone, how can I even try to go on? Ivan did probably as well as he did in the movie, maybe even a little bit better. I don't know.
I liked SOS as a song. Not him singing it.
It's a goofy execution in the movie.
Has he ever like talked about being in this movie? I mean, he obviously came back for the sequel.
Came back for the sequel. So I'm sure he had a great time.
Yeah, he must have liked drinking on the island.
I think he had just finished with, I hadn't looked at his credits before this, but he might have just finished his run on Bond before this movie came out. So it's almost like if this was his first thing after James Bond, it's like, whew, all right, I can kind of take a little bit of a break here, which would be for him, good for him. But I'll look that up while we're chatting here.
Yeah, there's too many to pick. All the ABBA songs are so good.
And Is it true that like a fair number of them are used again in the sequel?
I honestly blocked so much of the sequel out of my brain. I just remember them doing Waterloo. I think they did. They had to have done. I think they did Dancing Queen and Mamma Mia again, which makes sense. But as I was rewatching this, which may be the first time I've rewatched this since seeing the sequel, I was like, wow, I forgot just how many songs they jammed in here. And they were probably like, oh, we never really thought that we would need more songs for a sequel.
Yeah,
I remember
the metal early on. Big time.
Mhm.
I remember the first time I saw this on stage, like, you know, like early on, you get Dancing Queen, you get Mamma Mia pretty early, and you also get Thank You for the Music, which I also love early. So you're kind of like in the vibe, and then like by the time Act 2 rolls along, you're like, here comes another ABBA song, because ABBA also, you know, it's not the most diverse catalog of songs.
No.
Oh, the second one does have Cher. I remember that.
Oh yes, it does. Cher sings Fernando.
Fernando.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
What are you guys' thoughts on Does Your Mother Know?
Oh, so creepy.
Oh my gosh. Can we?
She's doing the right thing, though.
If the gender was reversed for that song, if it was one of the dads with like one of Sophie's friends.
That could be a lot of cases with a lot of songs in like any movie like this. But can we? Everybody in this movie is so horny. Oh my goodness, it's unbelievable. I'm away on a Greek island at a wedding. Everything is just ramped up, and I feel like obviously it's a trope with a lot of musicals, but like it is over the top with this one. Like it is crazy how just ready to go everybody is at any time. That song is wild though. Yeah. Wild.
It really is.
I mean, she's doing the right thing though. She's telling him no.
Yeah, I mean,
down boy.
Probably easier just tell him no than what she does.
Yeah, she's flirt a little, maybe
in front of 20 plus people. Like, okay, there we go.
That kid's definitely over 18, though. He's serving alcohol.
Yes. Oh, for sure. He's fine.
He's got to be like 21 or something.
And it's Greece.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what the drinking age is in Greece, but I'm going to guess he's 20 something.
I was about to say, Sophie is 20, so...
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's got to be 20 or 20.
He's got to be at least 20.
That's fine.
I also feel like this is not a movie I think that needs to be analyzed very much for plot, so I don't want to like go too far down that road. But do we feel like Donna sort of makes this all about herself and likes it that way?
Yes.
Like when they're performing at the bachelorette party, like I know like Amanda Seyfried does a really nice job of like making it seem like she's into it, but I'm like, this is your night, girlfriend.
Yeah, for real.
And then your mom is up there doing her like 70s era dancing there. And
I know, right? It's like, oh, you just want to relive your youth, Mom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. The mom performing with her old friends at a bachelorette party feels like not what a lot of bachelorettes would like.
I don't know if I would be into it if I were in Sophie's shoes. I'm like, I don't know if this is my kind of entertainment for a bachelorette party.
That scene though is just insane. Like at the bachelorette party, like, okay, so picture this, everyone. If you haven't seen this, they're singing Voulez-Vous. So this is after they sing whatever, Super Trooper. They're doing Voulez-Vous. There's like crazy. All these women are obviously very drunk, like crazy. All of a sudden, you look over. There's men in masks climbing up a cliff. Then there's men swinging down from rooftops. Where were their ropes attached to? We don't know. But they are swinging down from ropes to basically ambush all these women. Some of these feral women tie up two of the dads and try to I don't know what. One of them greatly enjoys it, the other one does not. All three dads approach Sophie at different times and tell her that they are her father. She gets so overwhelmed she faints. What a wild scene. I love it. I love it so much.
Turn off the logical part of your brain for just a little bit and just have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also will
exactly.
note that also from a plot point, one thing that the movie is missing the song "Under Attack," which has always been a wild scene on stage. It's the opener to Act Two, and it's like a nightmare scene where
Oh.
they're all like, she like wakes up from a nightmare of all the different things. But I feel like it's a very strange song and scene on stage. So I get why like they made, well, I don't know if I get, because they did a lot of crazy things in this movie. So I don't know if I get why they cut it from the movie, but I do feel like it helps like further the plot of like Sophie's real conflicted on her wedding day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't recall that one, but
It's a trippy number on stage. I at least the versions I've seen, both of them have been like, the Greek chorus that's just there all the time is like circling her in a bed, kind of the bed's like spinning around. Like I have like a vision of that happening in the song. It's like a very classic. You know how so many Act Two openers are like, what's going on here?
Yes.
Like either it's like super weird or it's like just like hey, welcome back to the show, let's do a big drinking number. It's like those are like the two kinds of Act Two openers, and this is definitely like a what's happening here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I love the villagers. I love that they're always around and they're always just like randomly popping their heads in to sing
Which is totally
something.
what it's meant to be, and that's how it is written in the musical, is that it's just like the ensemble is just there all the time, whether it makes sense or not.
Yeah, no, I love them. They're so fun.
They've just been dealing with Donna's BS for who knows how long. Just like, this non-local is just running amok here. Great. We'll just laugh at her and all of her struggles as she's going on. Yeah, this movie is really helped by the filmed on location and having people that are believable and local to the area and everything like that. It really helps.
Yeah, definitely. Because the sets and the vibes are gorgeous. Like
incredible.
Every scene, I'm just like, oh, like you just know they really filmed it in Greece, and you're like, wow, this is just picture perfect. Everything.
That said, if you're going to this resort, be ready for a workout because they get in leg day immediately upon arrival. You are climbing stairs. You are hauling it all across this place. The one chapel on the island is you have to scale a mountain to get up there. It's just there's a lot of walking on this place.
Well, and that's why like the most recent Broadway revival was like kind of it was the touring production basically that came and did like a sit down like 6 months on Broadway earlier this season. It was like August to January or something like that, and it was like kind of a cheap touring look to it, and that's why I always think about that one I saw in Chicago where like the set was gorgeous. Like it was like this beautiful like Greek cabana kind of, like it just like, and I was like, I've always thought like if I direct this, I really would be, because you don't really need the set to change that much on stage.
Right.
And I was like, boy, I would just love to have fun with that set. But I'm always like, when I saw the Broadway one, I was like, why are they just making it so boring? Like it could be a really, really cool set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So, okay. Singing aside, who is your guys' favorite dynamo and who's your favorite dad?
Favorite dynamo versus favorite dad.
Yeah, singing not included, just character wise.
It's hard to take the singing out of it. I mean, my biggest problem with Meryl Streep is the singing, so I guess I'd say otherwise Donna, for the dynamos. Christine Baranski is my least favorite, even though I like Christine Baranski in a lot of things. This is the kind of Christine Baranski I don't always like when she's in this kind of type of role. For the dads, probably Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah,
Bill's the best. Yeah, Bill's the best dad.
I'll agree with that.
In terms of
Bill and then Harry and then Sam.
Yeah, we're aligned. We're aligned there. I think for the dynamos, I will go with, and it's tough. I'm not going to take Tanya. I think I'll take Rosie. Just I'm going to change it up here a little bit, but I think that Rosie's a real, I mean, they're both real ones for sticking up for Donna the whole time. But Rosie's got the cookbook. She's up for some fun. She's the lone wolf, but LOL JK, not the lone wolf by the end of the movie. Just a ball. Plus, it's Molly Weasley. Shout out Julie Walters.
Yeah, I'll take Rosie as well. I always really think she's very funny and take a chance on me at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You bring up Molly Weasley made me think of the fact that like we're all over the place here with how many of them are British versus how many of them are American.
Oh yeah, we are going crazy. It's like Sophie is American.
I know the musical was originally a UK hit, and then when it opened in America, they Americanized the script. There were a lot of like kind of British references in there. But here it's like a real mix.
Oh
and
yeah,
I think I'm pretty sure even in the American version, one of the dads is supposed to be British still, but here it's like, I don't know, they're all of the fiance's British, like one of the dynamos. I'm like,
I was about to say Donna and Sophie are American.
Yeah,
Rosie is British. Tanya's American.
Sky is British.
Sky is British. Sam is British. Harry's British. Bill's Swedish.
Yeah.
Sophie's friends, one of them is British, one of them is Irish.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
what's happening here?
Together, this.
They're a very well-traveled, diverse group of friends.
Guess that's what happens when you go to Europe.
I guess so.
All over.
So. Everybody's everywhere. All right. Well, do either of you have any final thoughts?
I have one more thing. I didn't love the choice at the end to have so when they do, obviously in the musical ends and then they do Mamma Mia, Dancing Queen, and Waterloo, and it's the mega mix kind of thing that any jukebox musical that's worth its salt has at the end of their show. And here and they did the same thing with like those dynamos, in that pose. They rose up from the water or whatever in this movie, but it's the same thing they do on stage. And I guess I was like a little surprised they only had those main cast members and they didn't turn it into like a whole thing involving the Greek chorus. And I felt like it was a little lacking because of that. Like I would have liked to have seen like the whole Greek chorus behind them having some fun.
Yeah,
that would be nice to include.
Because they're so prevalent throughout the whole movie, and then it felt weird to not have them at the end, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. That would be a nice touch. It's one of those things where it's just like, I guess it's a Hollywood thing, and they're just like, this was probably filmed not on location, so we're not gonna fly everybody else over here or whatever. But yeah, that would have been nice.
They don't want to make those fantastic outfits for an entire group of people.
I think the last two things I have for this movie. So I noted at the beginning in terms of the filmmaking, direction, whatever you want to call it with this movie, just small things. We talked about the slow-mo, how ridiculous it looked. The movie is just kind of boring and dull during the songs. It's like we're so focused on them singing and really emphasizing them singing, but there's not a lot. You can do a lot in musicals outside of just people singing and stuff, and way too long of terms of awkward shots on people during songs or what have you. Just it wasn't necessarily filmed the most effective way. And the one thing I noted is right off the bat in this movie, when Sophie goes to deliver the letters, she's covered in shadow as she's singing and slowly approaches the mailbox, then cuts back to the shadow, slowly approaches. And instead of doing like a slow, dramatic reveal of her from the shadows to being her singing, it just is a cut to her face. And I was just so taken aback. I'm like, really? Do we really need, like, you couldn't have thought to do like the slow panning or whatever? But again, that was just a little thing. And then the last thing, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just jumping onto that. Like, I wonder, like, do you think it's more important when you do a musical movie to have like a director who has a real eye for film or for theater? You know what I mean? Like, obviously those are different things, but I almost feel like a director who has a background in theater might be helpful with a musical movie, because I do feel like you're right that like they're missing some obvious moments, I feel like. And when a musical by nature is such a heightened theatrical experience, like a heightened experience, that like I don't know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they need a stage director because probably I don't know. There's a ton of people who have directed both Broadway shows and movies. It's probably a small list of people, but maybe
Right.
someone who has some background in theater versus someone who's purely a film person.
Agreed. I think probably the closest comp would be like a Lin-Manuel Miranda at this point, because he did, or John Chu. I think those are the two big ones. But Lin-Manuel Miranda has done the stuff for Broadway and then has transitioned to the big screen with like Tick Tick Boom. John Chu, I
Yeah.
don't know if he's done anything with Broadway or with theater specifically, but his musical movies being In the Heights and the two Wicked movies, not as much the second Wicked movie,
Right.
but
Well,
everything else is translated
and-
well to the screen.
And the note, like, you know, one of the most successful musical films of all time is Chicago. That was
Right,
directed
Rob
by
Marshall.
Rob Marshall, who was a Broadway choreographer.
There you go. There you go.
Mhm.
Perfect. He was another name that came to mind, and I just wasn't sure of his level of involvement at that level. So that is like the perfect transition there.
Yeah.
But the last thing I had is just, do you know how few musicals we would get?
I'm sorry. I keep interrupting. Apparently, this Phyllida. Sorry, let me
Yes.
try that again. Apparently, this Phyllida Lloyd has directed theater, but looks like mostly like Shakespearean plays.
There you
Hmm.
go.
Interesting.
The last thing I was going to say about this movie is that do you know how few musicals we would get if people just talk to each other? This is just a great importance, a great example of just talking to each other would solve all of the world's problems. But
Then there
nope,
wouldn't be a show.
there wouldn't be a show. Granted, people don't talk to each other in real life, but again, just communicate, people. And another example of the importance of communication.
There you
That's
go.
Jeff. That's your theme for 2026.
It's my theme.
All right. Well, Ben, why don't you give us our TV recommendations today?
I just realized I never did the recommend. I never came up with any. I forgot about that part.
That's okay.
Hang on. Let me see if I
Okay.
can think of any off the top of my head.
Well, I can just move to Jeff.
Yeah,
Well,
go to me.
yeah, go ahead. Go with Jeff first, and I'll see if I can think of some.
Okay, Jeff. Movie recommendations.
So I've got a few movie recommendations. So the first one is, if you like this movie, watch the sequel. Mamma Mia, here we go again. Maybe not as fun from like the musical production standpoint, but from the filmmaking standpoint, this movie, I would say Mamma Mia 2 is better in that regards, because it is specifically made to be a movie. It doesn't have like the source material to go off of. Yeah, maybe not as fun or as memorable as Mamma Mia, but still a solid movie regardless. Second category for this, jukebox musicals. Let's go Moulin Rouge. Just a bunch of great songs in there. Fits the vibe perfectly. Third would be Meryl Streep in a musical. But also you could say, I guess, the stars of this movie in a musical. We'll combine Into the Woods and The Testament of Anne Lee into both of those. Very different subject matters between those two, but featuring Meryl Streep and Amanda Seyfried. And then 2020s musicals based on already present Broadway productions or Tony nominated, Tony award winning stuff. You have a number of them that have come out within the last few years. You could say Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, Wicked, Tick Tick Boom, aforementioned there, In the Heights as well. So a lot of those also fit into the same category as Mamma Mia. So those would be my movie recommendations.
All right. Ben, did you think of any?
I do have. I'll throw a couple out there. First of all, you know, if we want to talk about Meryl Streep and also a love for theater, Only Murders in the Building feels like an obvious choice. And then, you know, I also feel like if we're talking about like kind of the sheer kind of stupidity of the way songs get broken into here in this musical, you know, you got to think about Glee.
Yeah. Oh,
and
absolutely.
kind of the earnestness of Glee, I feel like. Also the same kind of era, a little bit. Glee was just a little bit after this. And then another recent show that is now on stage, which will be a good transition into our next topic here, is Schmigadoon.
Schmigadoon.
All right.
That's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, so today, instead of doing a top 4, like I mentioned, we're going to do some Tony's talk. So, Ben, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Um, so I'll give the caveat that I've given every year when we've done this, which is that I have not seen these shows yet. I will see several of them in the summer, as I always do. But I follow everything close enough. I read reviews. I follow the Tony race, so I feel pretty well versed in speaking on this. If anything, I actually feel like I'm better at predicting the Tonys when I haven't seen the shows than I am at like the Emmys, because I feel like I can separate my own feelings out a little bit more. Because I always see the shows after the Tonys, whereas the Emmys, I've often seen almost all of them before the Emmys. And I think it's sometimes hard to separate my opinions from my prognosticating.
I will say, before you go too much further, Ben, Amanda and I technically have seen one of the shows nominated for Best Musical.
That's true. Not in its current iteration, though.
Not in its current iteration, but
yes, you have.
Featuring the cast, featuring everything just before it hit Broadway.
Yes. So this is a really interesting year because the last couple of years were kind of overstuffed with musicals and musical revivals. Last year, I believe, had like 14 or 15 new musicals. This year had 6. And so we kind of like the COVID backlog kind of hit a wall, and then there were only 5 musical revivals in the whole season. Those I'm not talking about nominees. Like those are the total numbers for the entire season, which is real low compared to some years, especially some recent years. So it was just kind of a down year for musicals. However, the plays were very well received, and there were a lot of them this year. Kind of the economics of Broadway right now, like the big stars doing short run plays, has been a huge moneymaker for Broadway in recent years. And so you saw that again this year. So that being said, it also feels a little less wrapped up, especially like even though the musicals, there were only 6 eligible nominees and only 4 6 eligible for the nomination, only 4 nominees. It's a real crapshoot who's going to win. So the 4 nominees for Best Musical are The Lost Boys, Schmigadoon, Titanic, and Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York. The Lost Boys is a vampire musical that's big in terms of production value.
Movie of the same name as well.
Yes, based on that, and it's like kind of a throwback to the old British mega musicals, like Les Mis and Cats and that kind of stuff, and Phantom, and like it's just a huge production thing. Schmigadoon, of course, we just talked about, is based on the Apple series of the same name, kind of a parody and love letter to golden age musicals. Titanic,
this is the one that Amanda and I have seen.
That's the one you guys saw. Titanic was a off Broadway hit that kind of people were a little surprised actually came to Broadway. It's a very kind of silly parody of Titanic, led by a Celine Dion character, and she sings like Celine Dion songs, but it's all goofy. It's like all real silly. And then Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York is a two-hander, a little kind of romantic two-hander that's just 2 actors, very kind of small scale. So really all 4 of them, all 4 of them need this win in some ways, because none of them are setting the box office on fire. I think it's down to 3. I think it's down to Lost Boys, Lost Boys, Schmigadoon, and Two Strangers. Sorry to Titanic. This is one of those situations where Two Strangers has been open since the fall, has been kind of limping along in a way that some other previous shows like Kimberly Akimbo or maybe Happy Ending kind of were before they got their Tony win. And if it doesn't pick up this win, it's probably not going to be open much longer. And the Tony voters in general have gone towards these small kind of heartfelt things. However, this wasn't as well received as some of those, like maybe Happy Ending and Kimberly Akimbo were met with rave reviews. This was met with positive reviews, but not the raves that those got. So that's why I think there's an opening for both Schmigadoon and Lost Boys, which both kind of overperformed in terms of Tony nominations and also in terms of acclaim. They got better reviews than people expected. Schmigadoon has it a little bit stacked against it because shows with a pre-existing score, although Schmigadoon is eligible for score because they added songs, but those don't tend to. There's not been a musical that has won with a pre-existing score, that has not won Best Musical since Jersey Boys in 2006, unless you count Moulin Rouge, which was in the COVID year when all the shows that were nominated had pre-existing scores. So anytime that it's been the option to choose an original score, that has happened every year since 2006. And then Lost Boys, like it's hard to imagine a vampire musical winning best musical, but it does seem a little similar to The Outsiders, which won 2 years ago. So I'll be very curious. My pick right now is, this feels to me like one of those years where like the original frontrunner was Two Strangers. You kind of get a little swept up in the newer stuff, and then ultimately goes back to being the original winner. So my prediction is Two Strangers, but we'll see what happens. For musical revival, there's 3 nominees. There is Cats, The Jellicle Ball, Ragtime, and The Rocky Horror Show. Now, I remember 2 years ago when we were in New York, all of us, and we were at the Drama Bookshop, and there was some advertisement for Cats, The Jellicle Ball, and I was kind of making fun of it. It hadn't opened yet off Broadway, and I was like, this looks so dumb. And it caught New York by fire, like that off-Broadway run 2 years ago, and now it's caught Broadway by fire, and people love it. And it's going up against Ragtime, which is a far better show and material, in my opinion, than Cats, but kind of a standard revival, just with really great singing. And it's done at Lincoln Center, and it's kind of a grand revival of the same material, whereas Cats is doing something totally different with the material by setting it at a, drag race type ballroom setting. So I do think Cats is going to win this, which will be the second Andrew Lloyd Webber revival in a row to win, after Sunset won last year, and possibly now Evita, which is officially announced for coming next year with Rachel Zegler, could make it 3 Andrew Lloyd Webber shows in a row to win revival next year.
Wow.
I will jump in before you move on to plays.
Go ahead.
I have not seen The Lost Boys. I've always wanted to see The Lost Boys, the movie, so definitely want to check that out, especially with the success of this. So we'll be marking the chance to watch it. And then Schmigadoon, I loved seeing it. I thought it was a really, really fun musical. Would be thrilled to see its success here. I did see that it and The Lost Boys were nominated for a ton of awards.
Yes,
so
they picked up the most nominations. I would
love to see that. Sarah Chase was great when we saw her. I think the only thing about Schmigadoon that like hurt a little bit when we saw it the first time was, oh goodness, and I'm blanking on his name, and I feel so bad. Alex Brightman is the male lead in that, and he doesn't really sing until the end of the show.
No.
Which it's like when we saw Beetlejuice,
he has to be like the wet blanket the whole time.
I know, which stinks because Alex Brightman is so unbelievably talented and so good. Yes. And even though I didn't love Beetlejuice the musical, he was the last reason for that, because he is so extraordinary in that show and was so committed for so long. So that was the only bummer with Schmigadoon, but I had such a fun time seeing that.
I'm excited. That and Ragtime are probably the two I'm most excited to see when I go this summer.
You're gonna have a good time. Amanda, you like Schmigadoon too, right?
Yeah. I really liked it. Granted, it had been a long time between when I'd seen the first season of Schmigadoon and when we saw it, the show. So I was a little bit like, I don't really remember what is different that they're doing in the stage play.
Well, and they have to cut it way down because you're talking an 8-episode season versus a 2.5-hour musical.
Right. But yeah, no, it was super fun. When we saw it at the Kennedy Center back before it was renamed, and the crowd went wild for everything. So it was just a super fun show. I agree. I was disappointed that Alex Brightman didn't really get to sing very much at all. But it is what it is. So I very much like Schmigadoon.
Over on the play side, those are, I think, a little easier to predict than musical, because I should mention, although I think Cats is going to win revival, Ragtime is definitely in the mix. So like both the musical races are very close. On the play side, right now it's looking to me like the best play will probably be Liberation, which is not currently open, but was kind of a 70s feminist themed play that was very, very acclaimed during its run through the winter months. I think that's probably going to win. It's very it's kind of it was a huge critical darling when it first came out. It just won the Pulitzer very recently, and it's definitely the front runner to win. Obviously, it's not one I will get to see because it's not still playing. For revival of a play, that seems likely to go to Death of a Salesman with Nathan Lane and Laurie Metcalf. It's playing at the Winter Garden Theater, which is a huge theater for a play like that. and probably will be the lone play I see this summer when I go. But the it's, you know, Death of a Salesman gets revived all the time. It was just revived like 3 or 4 years ago on Broadway. And so everybody, when it was announced, was kind of like, oh, do we really need another Death of a Salesman? But it's gotten really rave reviews. And I think it's definitely going to win director for Joe Mantello. It will probably win revival. Nathan Lane could win, although he's got a real tough competition from John Lithgow, not John Cleese, in Giant. Laurie Metcalf is definitely the front runner to win for her category as well. So those are kind of the big 4 categories. I do think overall the show that will be walking home with the most wins, whether it wins revival or not, is Cats, because I think Cats is going to win a ton of below the line things: costumes, choreography, direction, things like that. So I think that will pick up more wins than any new musical for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking through who's been nominated for in the acting categories, and it's crazy. I know you mentioned the star actor led plays,
there's
and
a lot.
revivals. There's a lot of people nominated. Just like looking at it, where it's like Nathan Lane and John Lithgow and Daniel Radcliffe and Mark Strong are all nominated for leading actor. Rose Byrne, Carrie Coon, Leslie Manville, all nominated for leading actress in a play. And then when you look at featured actors, Christopher Abbott, Alden Ehrenreich, all nominated there. And then when you get to, and like you said, Laurie Metcalf, June Squibb, just unbelievably stacked.
And you want to know the list of people who didn't get nominated? Gene Smart, John Bernthal, Eben Moss-Bachrach, Adrian Brody, James Corden, Neil Patrick Harris, Cedric the Entertainer, Taraji P. Henson, Cynthia Nixon, Keanu Reeves, like Io Edebiri, Don Cheadle. Like it is just, plays on Broadway is where it's at for the big stars lately. Those are all people who didn't get nominated who were in shows this year.
It's crazy.
And to varying degrees of success. Some of them did not get very good reviews, but I'm just saying, like, it is a thing right now, and that's definitely the trend at the moment.
I'm thrilled that Sarah Chase got nominated for leading actress in a musical.
Yes.
I would love to see this revival of the Rocky Horror Show with Luke Evans and Stephanie Hsu.
Luke Evans is getting great reviews for that, and as is Rachel Dratch, who's the narrator in it.
Yeah, I would like to see that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm not a big Rocky Horror person, so So when we go to see, when we go to New York, there are a few shows that have Thursday matinee options for us. Rocky Horror is one of them, and so is Titanic. And I think we're choosing Titanic just because I'm not a Rocky Horror person. But yeah, people are happy it's back. Although this particular production has been a little divisive among Rocky Horror aficionados.
Why is that? Gotcha. Why? Any specific reason as to why?
So from what I've gathered, again, I'm not too deep into the Rocky Horror culture, but I understand that, like, a big part of it is, so there was a very acclaimed revival about 20 years ago that kind of glammed everything up for Broadway. This is apparently done with like a more, kind of like a community theater vibes. Like that's their aesthetic they're trying to go for here. And I think, people kind of maybe were expecting to be more like the one from 20 years ago, but then also I guess there's that whole thing about call outs. Like, and I guess at first it seemed like there was a little bit of controversy that the production was trying to kind of diminish those, but I guess Rachel Dratch has gotten a good handle on that over time, and that's going better is what I hear. But again, I don't follow it close enough to really know in that sense of, where people are with that show now. It did kind of overperform with nominations though. It was kind of down to that and Chess for that last revival spot to join Cats and Ragtime, and it not only got in over Chess, but it also got in a few places where it wasn't expected to.
Yeah, I've heard that Rachel Dratch has had a challenging time.
Yes,
not that she's doing a bad job, but like just that
I think it's turning in her favor is what I've heard.
Yeah,
and she did get nominated for a Tony. So
yes, yeah. I would enjoy seeing that. I'm a bad theater kid. I've never actually seen a theater production of Rocky Horror. I've only ever seen the movie. So, I'm like
Yeah.
not even a real theater kid, but it would be fun to see, I think.
And this summer, I'm only going to see 6 shows, which probably sounds like a lot to people listening, but is down from the 9 I saw last summer. And assuming everything stays open and doesn't close before I'm there, the 6 planning to see are Two Strangers, Ragtime, Titanic, Death of a Salesman, Schmigadoon, and then Spelling Bee off Broadway.
Nice.
Love Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee is great. That's
So
awesome.
I wanted to have room for Chess, even though it got mixed reviews, but Spelling Bee and Titanic kind of both got the benefit of having performances at times that other shows are not running performances.
Yeah.
Cats I was real torn on, and same with Lost Boys, because neither one is really my vibe, but I've been curious about both productions. I'm not going to end up seeing either one unless some of the others fall through, but but I remain curious about both of those. I'm just not sure it's for me.
Yeah, I'm very curious about Cats. I've seen
we could have
people.
we missed the boat. We could have gone 2 years ago when it wasn't even a thing yet.
I know, right? Got way cheaper tickets. Oh well.
Yeah. Looking forward to our mini episode where you talk about everything you've seen and react to the Tonys and everything. It'll be awesome.
Well, I've always wanted to see Masquerade, which has been going on for like a year or two now, and I think that's off Broadway, right?
It is,
so
yeah.
I would love to see that.
It would ever move.
I'm not sure.
Broadway,
tickets are very expensive for that because I did look into that one as well. But I am curious about that one as well.
Very intrigued.
People are really having fun with those Andrew Lloyd Webber shows now.
Yeah.
I feel like all these years of him being kind of, he was always commercially extremely successful, but artistically more mixed reception. And now I feel like all of a sudden people are taking his shows and dicing them up and doing crazy things with them, and it's working.
Like, let's just have fun with it.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah. And so the Tonys are this coming Sunday from when this episode airs on CBS, with, I believe, the pre-show on Paramount Plus, where they're going to give some of the awards out, hosted by Pink.
Okay.
Which is an unusual choice, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for all of that. Appreciate your time and talent looking into all that.
Try to be the awards prognosticator. We'll see how it goes. I do have all my picks. I didn't get into all of them, but I have picked for all the categories as usual.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, of course. Well, that brings us to the end of our musical episode, Mamma Mia. If you would like to watch along with us, next week we will be traveling over to Boston.
We're taking a flight from Greece to Boston.
Yeah. And we're going to be watching The Town. So
very different vibe.
Yeah, that's a little bit. So be sure to watch along or just tune in to hear our thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a rating or a review, and be sure to follow us on all our social channels. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see y'all next week.
To infinity and beyond!
Why so serious?
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.